Every single ape on Earth eats its food raw. Chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, bonobos, every one of them chewing for hours just to survive. Except us. Somewhere along the way, one specific ape started doing something no other primate does. It started cooking its food. This wasn't a small lifestyle choice. It may have been one of the biggest turning points in the entire history of human evolution. So what actually happened, and why did it matter so much? That's exactly what we're digging into today. Let's start by understanding what life is actually like for a raw food ape. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, eat an almost entirely raw diet. Fruit, leaves, bark. The occasional piece of raw meat, none of it is cooked. None of it is softened by heat in any way, and raw food, it turns out, is genuinely hard work to eat. Wild chimpanzees spend roughly 6 hours a day just chewing. 6 hours every single day. Just to chew. That's nearly half of every single waking hour spent on chewing alone. Compare that to modern humans, who spend less than an hour a day eating, total. That difference is staggering, and it comes down almost entirely to cooking. But why does raw food demand so much chewing in the first place? The answer lies in plant cell walls and tough connective tissue in meat. Raw plants are protected by rigid cellulose walls that are extremely difficult to break down. Raw meat contains dense collagen and tough muscle fibers that resist digestion. Without cooking, your body has to do all the work of breaking these down itself. That means more chewing, more stomach acid, more time, more energy, more effort. And here's the critical part. Raw food also yields far fewer usable calories. Even if you eat the exact same ingredients, raw versus cooked makes a massive difference. Studies have shown cooked food can deliver significantly more usable energy than raw food. This single fact is the foundation of one of evolution's most important ideas. It's called the cooking hypothesis, proposed by primatologist Richard Wrangham. The idea is bold, simple, and genuinely controversial in some scientific circles. Cooking, Wrangham argues, wasn't just a convenience for early humans. It was a fundamental biological turning point that reshaped our entire species. The theory proposes that cooked food provided so much extra usable energy that it freed up resources for one of the most expensive organs in the entire body: the brain. Let's talk about just how expensive the human brain actually is to run. The human brain makes up only about 2% of total body weight, and yet it consumes roughly 20% of the body's total daily energy. That's an enormous, disproportionate energy demand for a single organ. Other primates with smaller brains simply don't face this same energy burden. So the question becomes, where did early humans find the extra energy to afford this? Wrangham's answer is straightforward. Cooking unlocked that extra energy. Cooked food is simply easier to digest than raw food. Heat breaks down tough plant cell walls before your body even has to try. Heat denatures proteins in meat, unwinding their tight structure in advance. This means your stomach and intestines have to do dramatically less work. Less work digesting means more net energy actually absorbed into the body, and that net energy gain multiplied across every single meal, every single day, adds up fast. Over generations, this extra energy could be redirected toward other biological priorities, like growing and maintaining a significantly larger, more complex brain. This is the core engine driving the cooking hypothesis forward. But the changes cooking triggered went far beyond just the brain alone. Let's talk about the gut, because it shrank dramatically too. Digesting raw food requires a large, powerful digestive system. Chimpanzees and gorillas have proportionally massive guts compared to humans. Their bodies need that extra digestive capacity just to break down tough raw food. Human guts, by comparison, are significantly smaller relative to body size. This isn't a coincidence. It's a direct consequence of eating pre-softened, cooked food. A smaller gut is also significantly cheaper to maintain energy-wise. Gut tissue, like brain tissue, is metabolically expensive to keep running. Shrinking the gut freed up even more energy for other uses. This is sometimes called the expensive tissue hypothesis, and it pairs perfectly with cooking. Smaller gut, bigger brain, same overall energy budget. It's an elegant biological trade-off, and cooking is what made it possible. Now let's look at what's actually happening at a molecular level when you cook food. Heat causes starch granules in plants to swell and rupture, a process called gelatinization. This makes starches dramatically easier for digestive enzymes to break down. Heat also denatures proteins, unfolding their complex three-dimensional structure. Unfolded proteins are far easier for stomach enzymes to access and digest. Cooking also softens tough connective tissue in meat, breaking down collagen fibers. This is why cooked meat tears apart so much more easily than raw meat. Heat even helps neutralize certain natural toxins found in some raw plants. This expanded the range of plants that were actually safe to eat regularly. In short, Fire was acting like an external stomach, doing pre-digestion work outside the body. That's a remarkably useful way to think about what cooking actually accomplishes. It outsourced a huge portion of digestion to a process happening before the food even reached the mouth. This freed the body to spend its own internal energy elsewhere. Now let's talk about when this transformative shift may have actually begun. This is where things get genuinely tricky, because fire leaves limited physical evidence. Wrangham controversially argues that cooking may date back nearly 2 million years. That would place its origins around the emergence of Homo erectus. Homo erectus shows several physical traits that align suspiciously well with a cooked diet. Smaller teeth than earlier hominid species, a smaller jaw and reduced chewing muscles. A notably smaller gut cavity, inferred from rib cage shape. And strikingly, a significantly larger brain than earlier ancestors. All of these traits line up remarkably well with the predictions of the cooking hypothesis. However, direct archaeological evidence of fire from this early period remains scarce and debated. Many researchers argue that solid, undisputed evidence of controlled fire appears much later. Sites in places like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa show clear fire evidence around 1 million years ago. This evidence includes burned bone fragments and ash deposits found deep within the cave. By around 400,000 years ago, evidence for regular fire use becomes much stronger. Multiple sites across Europe and Africa show consistent hearths and fire pits by this point. So while the exact starting date remains genuinely debated among scientists, the broader pattern is extremely clear. Fire became a regular, essential part of human life. And once it did, there was no going back. Let's now address an obvious question many people ask about this entire story. Why didn't any other ape ever make this same leap? Wild apes do occasionally encounter natural fire caused by lightning strikes or volcanic activity. But encountering fire and controlling fire are two completely different things. Controlling fire requires understanding how to start it. It requires understanding how to feed it, to keep it burning steadily. It requires understanding how to contain it safely, to prevent it from spreading, and it requires understanding how to transport it, carrying flame from place to place. This demands a genuinely sophisticated level of planning and foresight. Most animals, including other apes, simply don't possess this kind of forward-thinking capacity. Fire, to a wild animal's instincts, almost always signals immediate danger. Overcoming that deep instinctual fear required a very specific kind of cognitive leap. Early humans needed enough intelligence to recognize fire's potential value, not just its danger. This likely required a brain already complex enough to override pure instinctual avoidance. In other words, there's a chicken and egg relationship between brains and fire control. A slightly bigger brain may have made fire control possible in the first place. And fire control, through cooking, then helped that brain grow even larger still. This reinforcing cycle may have unfolded gradually over hundreds of thousands of years, slowly tipping one specific ape lineage toward an entirely different evolutionary path, a path no other primate species ever fully followed. Let's consider what daily life actually looked like once cooking became routine. Meals, for the first time, could be prepared rather than simply consumed on the spot. This created an entirely new kind of daily structure around food. Gathering food during the day, returning to a central fire in the evening, preparing and sharing a cooked meal together. This simple routine had enormous social consequences that rippled outward. A shared fire became a natural gathering point for an entire group. People sat together, ate together, and inevitably began communicating more during this time. Some researchers believe this nightly gathering helped drive the development of language itself. Cooking also changed the structure of early human families and relationships. Because cooking takes time, it often required a division of daily labor. Someone needed to gather firewood. Someone needed to tend the flame itself, keeping it from dying out. Someone needed to prepare the actual food for cooking. This division of labor may have reshaped early social and family structures considerably. Cooking, in other words, wasn't just a biological shift. It was a deeply social one too. It restructured how early humans organized their entire daily lives. Let's return to the bigger biological picture now, because the stakes here are enormous. The human brain, remember, requires a massive and constant supply of energy. Without cooking, sustaining a brain this large may simply not have been possible. Some researchers argue that raw food alone couldn't have powered our modern brain size at all. The math, according to this view, simply doesn't work without cooking in the equation. This makes cooking not just helpful, but potentially essential to human evolution itself. Without it, we might never have developed the brains capable of language, art, or complex tools. We might never have developed the brains capable of the very science explaining all of this. That's a genuinely humbling thought to sit with for a moment. Our entire capacity for complex thought may trace back to a simple campfire, Let's also consider the broader survival advantages that cooking provided early humans. Cooked food is significantly safer to eat than raw food in many cases. Heat kills many harmful bacteria and parasites present in raw meat and certain plants. This dramatically reduced the risk of foodborne illness for early human populations. Fewer illnesses meant healthier individuals, capable of more consistent daily activity. Healthier individuals were also more likely to survive long enough to reproduce successfully. Cooking also extended the practical shelf life of certain stored foods. Smoking and drying meat over fire helped preserve it for much longer periods. This allowed early humans to stockpile food reserves for harder, leaner times ahead. Food security like this provided yet another significant survival advantage. Layer all these advantages together and the overall picture becomes remarkably clear. Cooking wasn't simply a convenient improvement to early human life. It was a powerful, multi-layered survival advantage unlike almost anything else in evolution. And it was an advantage no other primate species ever fully claimed for itself. Let's pause here and really consider how strange and unlikely this whole story actually is. An animal, deeply instinctively afraid of fire, somehow learned to control it completely. That same animal then used fire to fundamentally transform its own diet. That transformed diet then helped reshape its entire internal anatomy over time. A smaller gut, a bigger brain, an entirely new way of surviving in the world. All of this traces back to one remarkably simple, remarkably strange decision. The decision to stop fearing fire and start using it instead. It's honestly one of the most underappreciated turning points in our entire evolutionary story. We talk often about tools, about walking upright, about language and complex culture. But cooking rarely gets the same level of attention or recognition it truly deserves. And yet without it, none of those other achievements may have even been possible. The brain power required for sophisticated tools needed cooking's extra energy to even exist. The brain power required for complex language needed that same critical energy boost. Cooking may genuinely be the quiet engine running underneath all of human achievement. That's an enormous legacy for something as simple as applying heat to food. Let's bring this story forward now, into the world we actually live in today. Every kitchen on Earth, in some sense, is a direct descendant of that first fire. Every stovetop oven and grill traces its purpose back to that same original discovery. We've refined the technology dramatically, across hundreds of thousands of years, but the underlying biological need it satisfies hasn't changed at all. We are still fundamentally cooking-dependent apes. Try for a moment to imagine eating only raw food for an entire day. No cooked grains, no roasted vegetables, no prepared meat of any kind. Most people today would struggle enormously to get sufficient calories this way. Our bodies quite literally evolved to expect and depend on cooked food. Our smaller jaws, our smaller teeth, our shrunken digestive systems, all of it assumes that food arriving in our mouths has already been transformed by heat. This is the deep, often invisible legacy written into our very anatomy. So the next time you cook even the simplest meal, consider what that act represents. It represents nearly 2 million years of accumulated evolutionary history. It represents a complete biological transformation, layered slowly across countless generations. It represents one specific ape's strange, fearless decision to embrace fire instead of fleeing it. That decision didn't just change what we eat, it changed who we fundamentally are. We didn't just learn to cook food, we became a species shaped entirely by cooking. No other ape on the planet shares this particular evolutionary story. Chimpanzees still chew for 6 hours a day, just as they always have. Gorillas still process enormous amounts of raw plant matter through powerful, oversized guts. They never crossed the threshold that one specific lineage of ape eventually did. They never learned to control fire, and so they never gained its enormous benefits. Their bodies remain optimized for a raw food lifestyle exactly as they have been for millions of years. Our bodies, meanwhile, took an entirely different evolutionary path altogether. A path defined by smaller guts, bigger brains, and an unbreakable dependence on fire. It's a path that ultimately led to everything we now consider distinctly human. Complex language, sophisticated tools, elaborate art and culture, entire civilizations built across thousands of years. All of it, in some meaningful sense, traces back to that very first cooked meal. It's a humbling thought, honestly, that something this ordinary could matter this much. We don't think twice about cooking dinner. It feels completely unremarkable to us now, but that unremarkable act carries an extraordinary, almost 2 million-year-old history behind it. A history written into our shrunken digestive systems. A history written into our remarkably energy-hungry, endlessly curious brains. Every one of these traits is a quiet monument to that first controlled flame. So the next time you smell food cooking, take a moment to really notice it. That smell is older than almost anything else about being human. older than language, older than art, older than agriculture itself. It's one of the very first things that made us who we are. And it remains even now a daily ritual connecting us to that distant past. Every shared meal echoes a campfire from nearly 2 million years ago. Every recipe passed down through generations echoes humanity's very first survival strategy. Every kitchen, in its own quiet way, is a direct descendant of that first flame. We are, in the truest sense, the cooking ape, the only primate on Earth that transformed its food before eating it, the only primate that turned fire from a danger into a daily tool, the only primate whose entire body was reshaped by that single transformative decision. That decision still echoes in every meal we prepare today. It echoes in every stovetop, every oven, every backyard grill. It echoes in the very structure of our smaller jaws and larger brains. So the next time you sit down to a warm cooked meal, take a moment to consider just how much that simple act actually represents. It represents nearly 2 million years of biological transformation. It represents the courage of an ancestor who chose to embrace fire instead of fearing it. It represents the energy that built the most complex brain on the entire planet. It represents a quiet daily ritual that no other ape on Earth ever discovered. That's not just a story about food, that's genuinely a story about becoming human. So now when you flip on a stove without a second thought, remember that somewhere behind you, in the deep evolutionary past, an ancestor first faced that same flame, afraid at first, uncertain at first, but curious enough and brave enough to finally step closer, and somehow against every instinct telling it to run, that ancestor stayed. Generation after generation after generation, all the way down to you, right now. That's the story written quietly into your own dinner every single night. It's easy to overlook. It happens in nearly every kitchen, every single day. And it all traces back to one specific ape who refused to eat raw forever. So next time you cook even the simplest meal, give a quiet nod to that ancestor. They didn't know it yet, but they were about to change the entire course of evolution. And that right there is why humans are the only apes who cook their food. A simple flame, and an entire species forever changed because of it.